So now you put your name in the portal. You decide on going to K-State. And what went into that decision to transfer out there?
For them, it was, the investment I felt from them in terms of all the coaches on the staff was recruiting me. It wasn't just one. The first one that reached out was Shane Southwell, a fellow New Yorker who played in New York. So that also played a factor, knowing, I have someone there that knows where I come from and I can relate to, and I know is going to look out for me and have my best interests in mind. And then obviously the coaches all reaching out to me. The conversations I had with Coach Weber, Bruce Weber, who was there at the time, in terms of his role he was looking for me to come in and do. Looking at the roster in terms of, okay, what are they missing? What do they need? Seeing how I fit right in. And then just going from there. That was really the only thought process I had. Just seeing my fit, and then just seeing the investment level of how much they really wanted me to come.
Okay. Now, junior year, you see more court time than you had seen even your sophomore season, and you start most of the games that year. As an individual, why do you think that was?
For me, that year, I went into that summer and this preseason with the same mindset. I seen the team that they had. I see where I could fit in. I see how I could add value. And I had a really good summer and a really good preseason. I had a good non-conference, decent non-conference. But again, it's my first time starting, really. I'm playing all these minutes, so figuring that out, again, is a new thing I'm trying to figure out. Like, you can't be playing all these minutes and not producing, and figuring that stuff out is another adjustment for me. So, when you're a sophomore, freshman, you want to be playing, but then you realize when you're playing, you can't just be playing just to play. You got to really be producing. Yeah. So sometimes it might be better for some people to not be playing as much because they can produce more, which might even help them get to where they're trying to get in the long run. So just figuring that out, added value, being a leader, which I feel like ever since McDuffie, I always, prided myself on being a vocal leader, being the mature guy, holding people accountable. That year was probably one of the funnest and just best years I had in terms of, for the love of the game and just the environment. Despite, we underperformed that year as a team. We definitely had enough talent to make the tournament. But, just the people I played with, the coaches I had that year, the growth I felt I was developing as well in terms of, what it takes to play a lot of minutes and how to, impact winning at the high level. Big 12 was no joke, so adjusting to that league, you playing against the top talent, top teams in the country on a night in, night out. There's no off night in the Big 12. And practice was really competitive. I had, Marquise Noel, obviously, Nigel Pack, Mark Smith, Selton Miguel. Who else am I missing? I had really good talent that year on that team as well. So just, figuring those things out really helped my growth. So I had some really high games, some good games as well. I showed some consistent stretches, but then I showed some inconsistent stretches, which goes for why, I started some games, a lot of games, but I didn't start all the games because, again, it's about figuring out roles. It's about figuring out different schemes, different game plans. Okay, we're going to play at the 5 this game because the team plays small, so we feel like at the 5 you could do best. Switching everything, spacing the floor. But this game you might play the 4, or this game you might want you to come off the bench. So just figuring those things out and staying the course and realizing, it's a lot that goes into it, and you have to really kind of remove yourself from the situation and try and look at it from a non-biased point of view. And don't point the blame and point fingers at other people. But the biggest thing I learned from that year and just in general college basketball is you got to look in the mirror more than anything else. You got to reflect on yourself. Otherwise, 1, you'll go crazy, or 2, you'll never give yourself the accountability level that you deserve because you're just selling yourself short if you're blaming everyone else for what you feel. Whether it's deserved or not, you got to always look at yourself. You can't look at other people.
Talk about it, Ish. Now, they let Coach go at the end of your junior year, correct?
No, he resigned.
He resigned?
Yeah, he resigned.
Okay. He basically seen it coming?
It was kind of like a make the tournament type of thing, or it's like they might move in a separate direction, which I felt was unfair because Coach Weber did a lot for that school.
Yeah.
Him and Bill Self are the only two to win 2 Big 12 championships. He went to the Elite 8. He made it to the tournament majority of his years there, but with a school like that with such a diehard fan base, the minute the fans are not on your side no more, whether or not coaches and people don't want to admit it, it does play a factor when it comes to an AD having to make a decision, because they have to sell tickets, especially in Manhattan, Kansas, when we are the professional team. We are the team. We are what everyone there lives for. So if the fans are not showing up, you know, if they feel like it's time to go in a separate direction, then that's what's got to be done. But, you know, I learned a lot from Coach Weber, and, you know, he obviously is a great coach, had a great, you know, coaching career.
Absolutely. Now they hired Jerome Tang. What went into your choice to decide to stay there?
Well, I don't think at that time they made the rule yet about you could transfer twice and play right away. So I'm thinking, if I transfer, I might got to sit out.
I think you are correct.
I was thinking I probably could transfer, and I probably could get away with playing right away because I had a coaching change. But
I think that's what they were pushing for.
Yeah.
They were pushing for, if your coach changed, you could transfer again at that time. But it wasn't like
set in stone
until the summer ended or something like that.
But besides that point, like I said, I was there with Marquise Noel, who I had known since I was 15 years old. And we lived together. We got really close that year. And we kind of made a commitment to each other, like, look, are you leaving? Or am I staying? Like, if we're staying, we're staying together. So we really just locked in that year together. Like, you know, no matter what happens, we're going to stay together. And we're going to stay, and we just going to control what we can control. And however things roll out is how things roll out, and we'll roll with it. So they hired Coach Tang. Coach Tang has interviews and exit meetings with everyone. He ends up, you know how things go in college. He tells certain people he doesn't feel like they could play at this. Like, he kind of go in different directions. Me, Marquise, Nigel Pack, who ended up leaving in Miami, and another kid, Davion Bradford, were the four that he felt could help him impact and win at the Big 12 level. Two of them end up leaving, Nigel Pack and Davion, and me and Marquise were the only ones that decided to stay. So that whole spring was just a bunch of visits, you know, people coming in, us selling the school, and mind you, we just came in the year before. But if you ask Marquise, you know, there's nothing like K-State. So we were basically doing their job for them because they're new too. They don't know nothing about K-State. So we was doing their job for them in terms of selling the school. But it was genuine because we really had real love for the school and everything that came with it, despite, you know, the year before. And, you know, part of that spring was, you know, Coach Tang and new staff trying to kill us in workouts. And I think part of it was he wanted to see if we was going to break. So some of those workouts were like extra hard for no reason. And it's just me and Marquise. So it's like, if you just trying to see if we're going to break, but you don't realize if there's two people that's not going to break in a workout, it's me and Marquise. So we go through that, and eventually they really start to see like, okay, like we might have something with these two. And the recruiting starts to happen. We start getting some people committed. And then from there, you know, we just, in the summertime, we start to have a full team. We start seeing the type of things, but you still have some uncertainty because a lot of people they brought in might have played at their previous school. We're unproven guys. But, you know, like I said, me and Marquise just stuck with it. We were the leaders. We were trying to, you know, hold people accountable. And then that summer when we ended up getting Keontae Johnson, that's when we were like, okay, like, he might have had the hard thing, but we seen what he could do. If he 80% of what he was, we might got something with this right now. And then we also, obviously, we had Naquan Tomlin the whole summer. He's from New York. Me and Keith didn't know him, but he was from Harlem. His story is crazy, not playing basketball. But we seen his talent was off the charts.
Could you see, like, right off the rip, say, like, first 1 or 2 times in the gym with Naquan, like, oh, shit, like, this dude is real deal. I know they say he never played ball. He's some JUCO kid, but you could see it, like, right off the rip.
Absolutely. One of the assistants sent me his JUCO highlight tape, and I was watching, like, who is this, like, 6'10", like, he's 6'10", moving like this? Like, what am I even watching? Why is he, like, not in the NBA? Or, like, that's my first reaction. Who is this?
One of my youngins went to JUCO with him in Monroe up in Rochester when he first went, and he literally he went D1 out of there. The kid I'm talking about, his name is Majesty Brandon. He's from the Bronx. He literally called me and he said, yo, Gooch, it's a kid up here in my school. He looked like them type of dudes you be talking about.
They do. He really do.
And I'm like, yo, bro, because that's a D2 JUCO. I say, yo, bro, D2 JUCO upstate, there's some future pro dude up there. You're tweaking. He's like, nah, Gooch, I'm telling you, them dudes you be describing, he up here. It's one of them up here.
Nah, he really is. He really was. He really is. Nah, for real.
got you. So basically, y'all put it together. Y'all put it together throughout the summer. Put together a pretty nice roster, and end up having a hell of a year. I know that your individual playing time went down, and your role was scaled down. Did you possibly see that happening with you staying, or you didn't envision that possibly could happen, or what?
I mean, when a new coach, you envision anything is possible. But, you know, I kind of, from the initial conversations, I didn't envision that happening because, you know, the way Coach Tang was explaining it to me, like my ability to stretch the floor, like the ways he planned on using me, I'm thinking, okay, he clearly has and it wasn't just BS he was telling me. It's clear he has a vision. He scouted against me. It's clear he has a vision for how he wants to use me. But as people started coming in and the talent level was getting higher, and you realize, like, you could see he could go either way. Like, you don't know how things could go because you might be holding your own, but they holding your own too. He brought them in. So you never know how things can happen. So that season starts. We start rolling. I'm not playing as much. But then I'm again, goes back to looking in the mirror, reflecting, like I'm trying to figure out what I could do to play. But at the same time, I can't complain because we winning. So I got to find a way to see where I fit in the picture and what can I add to the table that no one else is adding. Because if we winning, clearly something's working. So I can't be an odd one out having a bad attitude, which I didn't have for a single second. I showed up every day in practice like it was a game time. I always had good energy. I went hard, and I just realized at one point or another they're gonna need me to win, and I'm gonna be ready. So, because of that, I just kept my head down. After games, I'd go work out. Curtis Kelly, who is also a New Yorker, he was a GA there while I was there. I would be hitting him after games to go work out if I didn't feel like I played enough.
This was your motto throughout the.
My motto is I'm not blaming no one else. I'm looking at myself, and I know. Once Big 12 come around, they going to need me to win games because everyone you brought in doesn't have Big 12 experience. And I know what I could do because I seen myself do it at this level last year. But I said, until then, I'm going to be a great teammate. I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to keep seeing what they're asking of me. They want me to do that I'm not doing. But at the same time, I'm going to keep doing what I know they're going to need me to do when the time comes. And again, you say my minutes went down. But like I said earlier in the interview, I would say arguably my minutes went down, but that was my most productive and one of my best years in college basketball, where after that year, because of the winning, because of all things that went into that year, that probably was the best year for me to have left school if I wanted to leave school, just because of all the things I had going for myself.
You had achieved. No, absolutely.